अच्छा चेयर इधर ही है। अच्छा
वैसे स्टार्ट कीजिए, रिकॉर्डिंग शुरू कर दिए हैं, फेसबुक लाइव में। हेलो आराधना मैम,
ये जी सर।
लाइव हो चुके हैं, आप शुरू कर दीजिए। शुरू कर दीजिए मैम।
सर धन्वंतरी वंदना चालू करें।
ठीक,
जैसे कुछ को आया तो चावल बड़ा रोटी बना पता नहीं है मेरा मीटिंग को नाम बुला रहा है।
शङ्खं चक्रं जलौकां दधतमृतघटं चारुदोर्भिश्चतुर्भिः सूक्ष्मस्वच्छातिहृद्यं शुकपरिविलसन् मौलिमं भोजनेत्रम् कालाम्भोदोज्ज्वलहाङ्गं कटितटविलसश्चारुपीताम्बराढ्यं वन्दे धन्वन्तरिं तं निखिलगदमिव प्रौढदावाग्निलीनम् वन्दे धन्वन्तरिं वन्दे धन्वन्तरिं वन्दे धन्वन्तरिम्।
हेलो हेलो, आज
हेलो
मैं, हाँ यस मैम,
बोलिए बोलिए।
हाँ नहीं, आपके स्टूडेंट का था, लगाया था आज धन्वंतरी स्तवन, अच्छा है।
अलग
ठीक,
था, अच्छा था सर।
ये
थोड़ा
जो
सा साउंड का
धनवंतरी की प्रतिमा दिखाई गई
मैम, उस
वो
स्टूडेंट का
हमारे
नाम बताइए ना।
रायपुर के हैं।
हाँ मैम।
आज ओके,
Yes, ma'am.
hello all Rogvidanians, welcome all our respected dignitaries of Rogvidan and students who are joining the meeting of this parishad. Today, we are conducting the 34th single lecture of series of lectures of Rognidan Parishad Academy. I am very much happy to introduce my today's eminent academician of Nidan family, Dr. Aishwarya Ranade. She is MD Rognidan and a scholar of PhD Rognidan. She is assistant professor in Tilak Ayurved Mahavidyalay, Pune. I'm just giving you brief introduction. She is honorary pathologist at St. Tarajan Charitable Trust Hospital, Pune. She has experience of 12 years of teaching and she is guiding PG students since 7 years. She is approved PG and PhD guide from MUHS. She has been published many papers in national and international platforms. Internationally, she has published paper in Bangkok and Germany. She has been guest speakers in many national and international conferences. She published in many papers in Index Journal. She is general editor of peer-reviewed Journal of ADR publication. Ma'am is very much interested in research. She got certificate course in clinical research, drug development, and epidemiology with 12 international credit points from Germany. She is writing blogs on Ayurveda under the Ayurveda Essence platform since 3 years. They are very much interesting. We all are seen in Ayurveda Essence platform. She is former joint secretary of Ayurveda Rog Nidan Specialist Organization. She chaired scientific sessions in national and international conferences like WAC and BHU. Lastly, not least, but Madam received Best Reviewer Award. So she is our today's eminent speaker. मैं ऐश्वर्या मैडम के लिए 2 लाइनें कहना चाहती हूँ। मंजिल यूं ही नहीं मिलती राही को, जुनून सा दिल लगाना पड़ता है। पूछा चिड़िया से कि घोंसला कैसे बनता है, तो ऐश्वर्या बोली कि तिनका तिनका उठाना पड़ता है मैडम। इसी कड़ी में मैं आज मैडम का लेक्चर जो है वो रखा गया है और इसी कड़ी में आज हमारी चेयरपर्सन जो है मैडम दर्शना पांडे मैडम, जो जामनगर आयुर्वेद रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट से हैं, मैं उनका भी एक ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन आपके समक्ष प्रस्तुत करती हूँ। Dr. Darshana Pandey, Madam, she is Assistant Professor in Rog Nidan Department in Institute for Teaching and Research in Ayurveda in Jamnagar. She is MD and PhD in Rog Nidan. She has a teaching experience of 18 years and her PG experience is more than 13 years. She also has research experience of more than 19 years. 11 students of MD Rognidan got her guidance as a supervisor, directly supervisor, and she co-guided 12 students. She also directly supervised 3 students of PhD. She has attended more than 40 seminars and workshops, and more than 35 research papers has been published by her in various seminars and conferences. 15 lectures has been delivered and more than 30 papers has been presented by her in national and international platforms. Madam is also reviewer of Journal of Ayurveda, IU, and she editor for Journal of Ayurveda and Integrated Medicine. Madam is very hardworking and renowned teacher and speaker of our रोग निदान परिषद family. मैं बहुत ही खुश हूँ कि मैं आज हमारे ग्रुप में सारी महिलाएं जो हैं वो एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेट करेंगी. हमारी स्पीकर डॉक्टर ऐश्वर्या रानाडे, हमारी चेयरपर्सन मैडम पांड्या और हमारे आभार थैंकफुल सेरेमनी के लिए हमारी रिनाउंड टीचर वेरी इंटेलिजेंट teacher of Madhya Pradesh, Dr. Bharti Dadlani is also present in this academy, and she is actively participated for this academy. And I am coordinator. Naturally, we four are very takatful ladies.
Thank you very much.
मैं मैडम के लिए कहती हूँ, यत्र नार्यस्तु पूज्यन्ते रमन्ते तत्र देवता. ऐसा कह करके मैं हमारी चेयरपर्सन से गुजारिश करती हूँ कि वो हमारी स्पीकर को अपना लेक्चर प्रारंभ करने की अनुमति प्रदान करें. मैडम पांड्या मैडम अपना माइक ऑन करिए. दर्शना मैडम माइक ऑन कीजिए. गणेश सर उनको अनम्यूट करिए मैडम को.
मैडम अनम्यूट तो उनको होना पड़ेगा.
दर्शना मैडम अनम्यूट करिए.
मैडम खुद को अनम्यूट कीजिए. हेलो दर्शना मैम, अनम्यूट कीजिए अपने आप को. हाँ इसमें
मैडम माइक ऑन कीजिए. अनम्यूट करिए मैडम माइक को.
हेलो
मैडम, दर्शना मैम का स्वीकृति मानते हुए आप आगे बढ़ाइए लेक्चर को.
ओके
ठीक है.
आ गए मैडम, आ गए.
मैडम अनम्यूट नहीं हो पा रही हैं. मैं
उनकी
अनुमति मानते हुए. मैडम अनम्यूट हो गया क्या?
अब आवाज आ रही है.
हाँ यस मैडम आवाज आ रही है.
ओके ओके. हाँ जी ऐश्वर्या आप शुरू कीजिए.
जी थैंक यू.
थैंक यू
जी. श्री गुरुवे नमः. और आयुर्वेद शास्त्र के आराध्य देवता भगवान श्री धन्वंतरी को नमन करते हुए अकेडमी रोग निदान अकेडमी ने आज मुझे यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट करने का जो मौका दिया है उसके लिए मैं सबसे पहले अकेडमी का धन्यवाद मानना चाहती हूँ. आराधना कंडे मैडम मेरे सीनियर है, बहुत रिस्पेक्टफुल है और उनको लगा कि आज मैं यहाँ बोल सकती हूँ, तो उन्होंने ये जो मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटी दी है उसके लिए भी आराधना मैम को धन्यवाद करना चाहती हूँ। दर्शना पंडा मैम, उनका नाम बहुत सुना है, मैडम से कभी मिली नहीं हूँ, लेकिन आज ये मेरा सौभाग्य समझती हूँ कि ऐसी इंटेलिजेंट और स्कॉलर पर्सनालिटी आयुर्वेद में और रोग निदान में आज इस चेयरपर्सन के चेयर पे है, तो उनको भी मेरा बहुत बहुत नमस्कार। ददलानी मैडम को भी मेरा नमस्कार, बहुत दिनों बाद उनसे मिलना हुआ वर्चुअली। अकेडमी के प्रेसिडेंट डॉक्टर पवन कुमार गोड़तवार सर और अतुल वार्ष्णेय सर और सभी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिस बेयर सभी को मेरा नमस्कार और यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट सभी ऑडियंस को मेरा नमस्कार। आज मैं जिस विषय पे बोलना चाहती हूँ वो विषय है I hope this presentation is visible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Today my topic is laboratory investigations pertaining to Ayurveda. It is as being in the profession of specialization related to the laboratory or pathology laboratory. While studying Ayurveda, we in our curriculum we learn modern pathological laboratory investigations, also the technologies in modern laboratory. Why I thought of this topic is because I think there is a very less information or very few analysis has been done pertaining to the investigations which we can call as related to the laboratory investigations in Ayurveda. What can we see when we say that there are laboratory investigations in Ayurveda? Though in any of the Ayurvedic manuscript, it is not stated that there is a separate a space or there is a different specialization allotted for this kind of studies in Ayurveda. One thing what I have observed along all these years are the laboratory investigations used to be done by every physician, every Ayurvedic physician, irrespective of his or her specialization. There was no kind of division like someone is a Rogaridanya, someone is a Shalya Tadnya, there someone is a Kaya Chikitsa person. Though the divisions were made according to the distribution of the subject, but that depended on the expertise of the person. But related to the laboratory investigations, no kind of a special division was made because it was expected that such kind of investigations were to be done by the physician or the surgeon himself. So what we can see that all these laboratorical investigations were related to the Pratyaksha Pariksha on the basis of 5 sensory organs, that is Chakshurindriya, Karanendriya, Ghrana-indriya, Rasanendriya and Sparshanendriya. In today's era also, whatever the kind of investigations we see, whether it is MRI related to radiology, related to the laboratory investigations, related to the microscopic investigations, everything is related to the sensory organs. So the importance of Indriya in understanding or gaining the knowledge is rightly given in Ayurveda also. What we can see, there is a limitation for the microscopic examination. Of course, considering the technology, this area is far more advanced, but we cannot say that at that time the microscopic examinations were not established. I would say those were not in advanced state, but even the physicians or the surgeons were of that kind of intellect, and even these were obtained by them, so that I think that the Pratyaksha Praman was given by themselves with the help of their siddhis. This is what I have seen while reading the Samhitas. The information about the analysis, we can see it as a little limited. The information is given in terms of, I would say, in kind of pratima or relation, one-to-one correspondence kind of thing was more explained in manuscripts. And in all these laboratory investigations, analysis was based on different kind of pathologies according to the structure, function and state of a system. What we can see is any kind of laboratory test can be explained, or why we do any kind of laboratory investigation. The reason is any kind of test can be divided into either it is a screening test, or it is a diagnostic test, or it is a prognostic test. Screening tests are done to find out the cause, like whether what we do in the HIV examination, the ELISA test for HIV, that whether the screening test, we can say that it is a kind of qualitative examination where we can say that the cause is present or not. Then the diagnostic test is for the confirmation of the cause or confirmation of the disease, basically the etiological factor, like any kind of infectious pathology or inflammatory pathology. So in diagnostics tests, like what we are right now in this corona pandemic, RT-PCR we can say is a diagnostic test for corona antigen. स्क्रीनिंग टेस्ट में हम कोरोना के लिए IgG IgM के एंटीबॉडीज अगर करते हैं, तो देर इज द एनालिसिस दैट देर इज अ प्रेजेंस ऑफ the antibodies. It means that's a retrospective study that the presence of antibodies can be it can be analyzed that the virus is present or the antigen is present in the body. And the third kind of test is the prognostic test, which relates to the severity of a disease, whether the disease is whether disease has a good prognosis, bad prognosis, or whether the disease is incurable or curable. So such kind of test we can say that very detailed explanation is not observed, but we can generalize, or we can divide whatever the explanations given in Ayurveda in these kind of categories. What is how can we find out the laboratory investigations in Ayurveda? So there is no specific space, or there is no specific sutra, there is no sthana or any chapter related to dedicated to the these laboratory investigations. Only in Yoga Ratnakar, I think he was the first physician or the Ayurveda expert who failed to explain a specific excretory product or uskrushta dravya in body to explain in whatever the detail he can produce in front of the people. So what we can observe is that there are mutra parikshas, mala parikshas, rakta pariksha, Shtivana, that is expectoration, sputum examination, Retasa, that is semen examination, and Stanya pariksha. But along with this, we can see that any kind of usrushta dravya, that is which is excreted or produced or secreted in body, can be examined in such a way. As Ayurveda is based on the Tridosha Siddhanta, so each and every cell of body is consisted of this Vata, Pitta and Kapha. So any of the secretion, production or bhava padartha which is going to be produced in any of the srotas can be examined in this sort of by this kind of analysis. I'll be talking about a few of the examinations here. Just a minute. Actually, I'm having some problem in seeing the slide because this recording, this pilot is obstructing my vision. Can I do something for this, Ganesh sir? Okay, let us see. So I'll be talking about Ayurveda Mutra Parikshan, Ayurveda Purisha Parikshan, Rakta Parikshan in detail. Ayurveda Mutra Pariksha. We can see that in Ayurveda, the normal pramana or the volume or the quantity of any substance is explained, but in terms of laboratory investigations such kind of explanations are not given. So whatever is the normal pramana given in terms of Anjali by for Mutra, we can say that we can consider it as the normal Anjali pramana, that is a 4 Anjali. The kind of consistency or the appearance when we see in a mutra is the Bahala, Alpa and Bindusha, and that is related to the consistency and to the volume of mutra which is being excreted. So in so the Bahala, the consistency changes in Pishtameha, Shitameha, Samajvara, Arsha, Purvarupa and Navajvara. So this Bahala consistency can be related to when there is an increased specific gravity or where there is when there are deposits in the urine. Alpa matra or Bindusha matra, where there is Bindusha can be defined or it can be explained as where there is a dribbling maturation and where is there when there is not a free flowing maturation. In alpa that is related to the volume of urine excreted through urethra. It might not mean that the production is less, but it can be said that the excretion is less. Now there are no exact numbers or quantitative numbers for the Veg for any kind of Prakruti or individual which can which we say that these are the normal Vegas of Mutra in a person. So in general observation, what we can say that there are approximately 4 to 5 normal mutra vega in a person irrespective of the season or seasonal variations, and maximum 1 vega in of mutra in nakta mutrata. This may vary according to season, this may vary according to the prakruti, this may vary according to the age of the person. When we say that all the laboratory investigations were done according to the Pancha Jnanendriya with the use of this Pancha Jnanendriya. So all these discrete data I have tried to divide in whatever they have given importance in the analysis. So first of all, we can see there is a change in color of mutra. So there are different kind of colors mentioned in Ayurvedic Samhitas, which I see that some of the forms are the pure forms like the Pitta, Krishna, Rakta, where there is no mixing. The pure Pitta Varna, Krishna Varna, Rakta Varna. In our daily practice, in our daily laboratory, we can see these are the today's samples actually what we have received in our laboratory. But yes, I have once in my experience throughout these 12 years, I have seen one Krishna Varni Mutra. Rakta Varni Mutra, exact Rakta Varna I have not seen yet, but Pita Varnata, yes, whenever we find any person with Udara or Udara and Kamala, we have seen this Pita Varna. Mixed colors, there are the two types of colors mixed with one another, and these are represented as Haridrabham, Neelabham, where there is a tinge of yellow, where there is a tinge of blue color with the normal color of the urine. Then there are the comparative colors. The colors are which they cannot explain properly, or where they want to explain it, they have taken help of some of the objects or the instruments or the substances like Bhasmodaka Pratikasham, the ash colored, or the Gomedaka. Majja, the appearance or the color of the majja in bone marrow, in bone. So these are the relative comparative colors what one can observe. Now the consistency, all the examinations or the analysis was divided into consistency, that how is the flowing capacity of a substance, that is the jalavat kalusha savirabham tandula toyavat. Now consistency, we can also correlate it with the specific gravity, the pH and the deposits and the appearance and the unsaturated substances or dissolved substances in the urine. Then again specific gravity, though the word specific gravity or gurutva is not mentioned, but this majjabham ikshurasa eva. So Ikshurus, how if we can collect Ikshurasa in the glass container, then the appearance can itself tell us that there are many unsaturated substances or there may be any deposits or appearance is not clear or turbid. So of course this turbidity can be correlated with the specific gravity, or it can, we can say that there might be a difference in specific gravity of the urine. Then the gandha of urine. The normal gandha of urine is not mentioned. On the contrary, in modern science there is a nitrogenous odor to the urine, where in Ayurveda the prakruta mutragandha is not explained. When we analyze or when we study different kind of samhitas, we can find the different gandhas are being given to the urine depending on the underlying pathology and according to the what kind of name has been given to the disease. In Udakameha, one is Gandharahita. It means there is no smell, there is no odor. So Udakameha, we can say that is a Jalavata Tanu Mutra, where it is so dilated that it is not able to express its smell. There is a Kshara Gandha in Kshara Meha, then Visra Gandha in Manjishtha Meha. So Visra is related to any foul smelling or smelling related to the rotten substances. Then even this gandha, this basta gandha, vitatulya gandha, puti gandha, this gandha, these different kind of gandhas, if we try to analyze, then we can see that this puti gandha or vitatulya gandha, where there is a mixing of some kind of substances like purisha or feces in Mutrava Srotasa, which is giving the urine the smell of a feces. Then Puti Gandha, where we can say that there is a kind of Sankramana or there can be a Dhatu Paka Avastha or inflammatory or Varnashothajanya Avastha in Mutra. So Gandha even can give us a decision about what kind of underlying pathology or what kind of dosha, like Puti can be considered as a Pitta dosha, Vitatulya can be considered as a Bhagandhara Vitri doshajanya involvement, Bastagandha can be considered as a Kapha Pitta Janya, Visragandha can be considered as a Pitta or Kapha Janya Samprapti. Then this Sparsha Pariksha. By using Sparshana, now Sparsha Pariksha can be examined through this pain, touch and temperature. So what we can examine through Sparshanindra is pain, touch and temperature. So though there is no specific kind of word used for Sparsha Pariksha or Sparsha, how the Sparsha is of Mutra is not explained or not stated, but the Ushnata of Mutra is being explained, or the temperature of Mutra, that is warmness of Mutra, is explained. So we can say that through Sparsha Pariksha we can analyze this aspect of Mutra Pariksha. Like normal urine, which is not exactly mentioned, but we with the routine observation we can say that it is warm in nature or warm to touch. Then what are the abnormal temperatures? Through touch we can identify in urine, and what is said in manuscripts, that is a Shitala. In Udakameha it is said that the urine is Shitala in Sparsha. In Shitameha it is Brusha Shitala, that is the temperature is more towards the cold or cold temperature. In Ksharameh, Ksharavata Sparshi. Now the feeling of Kshara, when we take any salt in hand, though we can identify this roughness of a Kshar, but it gives a kind of warmness to your skin. So Ksharavata Sparshi can also, we can say that the temperature is tending to increase. Then Ushna Sparsha in Rakta Meha, Rakta Prakopajanya Vyadhi, in Vata Pitta Jwara, there is a Ushna Sparsha. So these Sparsha can be taken as to evaluate the doshas in urine, that is Shitala, and Bruhat Shitala can be related to Vata, Vata Kapha Janya. Ksharavata Sparsha can be related to Kapha and Rakta, Pitta and Rakta Dushti, and Ushna Sparsha can be related to Rakta and Pitta Prakopa, and up to a certain level, if there is a Visheshan of Vata, then Vata Pitta Visheshan. Now Rasa. This is a very fascinating topic for me, that how the Samhitakaras have explained this rasa of urine, because nobody would like to taste any excretory product. Then how they have decided it? It is really, for me it is really fascinating, or for me it kind of, we can analyze this through different experiments, which what I have found through internet when I was searching the Google, and I thought that some kind of relation can be done with the modern experiments which are doing in today's area. So right now Lavan and Katu are explained as the normal rasas. Now what are the abnormalities? In Shita Meha we can observe Madhura rasa, in Haridra Meha that is Katu rasa, in Rakta Meha that is Sa Lavan, and in Kshaudra Meha that is the rasa of the taste of honey is being given to the mutra, that is Kashaya and Madhura. So it is really, in Prameha we can say that there is a Pipika Sancharan towards the Mutra Pravrutti, or the excreted Mutra, towards the excreted Mutra. But how this Lavana, Katu and Madhura can be analyzed? So I have tried some of the points in the later of the slides. Then the different aspect, it is very different aspect explained in Mutra Pariksha about the and that is a Taila Bindu Pariksha. The use of Taila, of course the Taila has been used in all these in Taila Bindu Pariksha. Then what we do in our laboratory for this Taila Bindu Pariksha is the use of Taila, then the compass to detect the directions of the flow of this sprayed of this oil drop. Then the Petri dish, as it is said that in Samhita that the mutra should be the container for the collection of the urine sample should be the glass, because it is transparent and it is easy to demonstrate the deposits or the appearance or the consistency and color of the urine. We have decided to take the background, or where we put the Petri dish we use the black background, so that the black background can, any kind of abnormality or artifact or the spread of the oil drop can be seen easily through this black background. Then fine grass stick, which is also been said in the manuscripts for the pouring of the oil drop. Now what we are going to see when this oil drop, when we pour this oil drop in the urine. So the spread, that is how the oil drop gets sprayed on the urine surface, and then the speed, how speedily it gets sprayed, and then the akara, how it forms in a different kind of shape when it gets on the surface of the urine. So these are the three major points we observe in this spreading of this oil drop. The normal spread, of course, it is not mentioned that how the tail bindu spreads, or in which way it should be spreaded normally. It is not mentioned, but this is a routine observation of what we observe daily in our laboratory. What we do in our pathology lab is that when we pour the drop, it spreads smoothly. There is no obstruction, there is no delay. When if the urine is normal or the prakruta without any Utsrushta Dravya mixed in it, then the spread of the drop is smooth. It spreads without any obstruction or hesitation, and the movement is forward. At first, what we have observed is that at first the spread is rapid, and then after a few seconds the spread depends on the specific gravity, the appearance and the consistency of the urine. The spread in initial few seconds it is rapid, and later on it slows down. As the periphery or circumference of the spread increases, the spread of course slows down. What we can see that the examination or analysis of Taila Mutra Bindu Pariksha is given in terms of the prognosis of a disease. They have not given that any specific direction or any for the normal, but or what is abnormal, but the abnormality is being expressed in terms of the prognosis of a disease. So it can be clear cut said that the urine examination or the urine collected at that time can represent the abnormalities present in the person at the time of collection. So Ati Laghavat Vikasan. Ati Laghavat, sorry, there is a spelling mistake, that is Ati Laghavat Vikasan. Ati Laghavat, the spread, the oil drop spreads. But why? Because the urine, the specific gravity of the urine, the density of the urine, if the urine is normal in nature of the person, or the pathology, underlying pathology, it's not much severe, then the oil droplet spreads easily. That is Ati Laghavat Vikasana. There is a spread, there is a forward spread of the oil drop. Then is the Ati Laghavat Vikasana, poor, Na Ati Laghavat Vikasana, that is poor prognosis. If the urine is guru in nature due to the underlying saturated substance in it, if the deposits are more, if the specific gravity is more, then the prognosis is poor. It means the spread is not uniform, the spread is not rapid, and that's why there is a restriction in spreading of the oil drop. Then is the Na Vikasati Talage. There are two words in this, Na Vikasati and Talage. That is, there is no spread of the oil drop. The way it falls down on the surface of the urine, it directly goes down without spreading on the surface of the urine. It goes down to the bottom, and it goes down to the it goes down to the bottom, and this condition is called as incurable. So this is also we have seen in some of our patients, very few of the patients we have seen this kind of observation. Even this Ati Laghavat Vikasana, Na Ati Laghavat Vikasana, or Na Vikasati Talage, all these observations we have we are observing in our daily practice in our laboratory. I have shown a video in later slides that will give a clear idea about this spread. Factors which affect this spread, that is the wind in the surrounding, that is if there is a fan running in the room, or is the wind is blowing in the room, or there is a blow of wind nearby this the petri dish or the glass container where we are going to put this oil droplet, then this speed of wind can affect the spread of the oil drop. Then the sample is diluted. No matter how strictly we encourage our patients to collect the sample in a sterile container and a disposable container, if somehow the patient collects the sample in a dirty container or a container which is washed with water, and then the sample is then collected in the container, then sample gets diluted, and that diluted sample may affect the spread of the oil droplet. Then the dirty petri dish. The dirty petri dish, it affects in terms of the specific gravity and the appearance of the mutra, where it may affect on the spread of the oil droplet. Then again the specific gravity, deposit, appearance and saturated substances in the urine, that is what we call it as a clay, the arm, or a dushta mutra or vikruta mutra, due to different kind of doshas in the urine. This may affect the spread of the urine. Then is gati and spread of the oil droplet. Now the spread, how the spread should be, in a normal urine well, it is not mentioned, but what we have observed, the spread is forward and the spread is smooth. Then the abnormal, these are been mentioned in Samhita, that the shigra and slow, or shigra and manda, these are the spread speed of oil droplet. So shigra vikasana and manda vikasana. So how we can relate it? So shigra and manda gati. Then is the shape of the drop. Now the vikasanottara bindvakara, that is the shape of the oil drop. There is no specific shape mentioned in Ayurvedic Samhita that this is a normal shape or this should be the kind of shape that every individual should have when we do this oil droplet. But the sadhya sadhvatva, the shape of the droplet is given according to the prognosis of the disease. The shapes are not mentioned as the normal, but shapes are mentioned according to the prognosis of the disease, which is, I think, an important analysis, because they have not explained it in terms of the health of the person. They have considered that the health is some or less is abnormal, or there is a kind of pathology in the health, and that's why the spreads are or any kind of spread or gati or vikasana is mentioned in terms of the prognosis of the disease. Observations are mentioned related to the prognosis. Various shapes are mentioned. There are good prognosis, and for that good prognosis, Hansa, Karanda, Tadaga, Kamala, Gaja, Chhatra, these shapes are mentioned. The shapes are also mentioned according to the dosha vitiation in body. There are shapes which are which are mentioned for the poor prognosis or the disease, when disease becomes incurable. Then such kind of shapes of oil droplets can be observed. That is hala, kurma, shirogna nar, or the nara which has no shira. Then Gatrakhanda, that is a person which has no extremities, or the part of the body is removed or excised. Then how the person will look? Then the Gatrakhanda, like any kind of shastra, khadaga, mushal. These are the shapes where they have mentioned is as incurable. Now it is not mentioned that what kind of how they have come to this analysis that these shapes are for poor prognosis. Now I think what we can do is that whenever we can find this kind of shapes in Tailabindu Mutra Pariksha, then a retrospective study of the patient itself can be done, and the aspects of incurable diseases can be found out in the patient, and hence we can say that these are the shapes which we can find in incurable diseases. There are some different aspects mentioned about this spread of the bindu and the shape of the bindu. That is, if the shape is of Chalani Sadrusha, that is mesh-like appearance to the oil drop. In my experience in all these 12 years, only once I have observed this Chalani Sadrusha appearance. And when we tried to study the patient, because the patient was in IPD, so we were able to take this history of the patient. Then Kula dosha and Preta dosha. Well, the Preta dosha we were not able to identify in the patient, but Kula dosha, yes, the patient was with acquired diabetes mellitus, and before taking the complete history, patient got referred to some other hospital. So Kula dosha, yes, we have observed that the patient was suffering with the prameha or the madhumeha, and this is the only history we could find out. Then Bhuta dosha, Sarpakara. Then the spreads are mentioned according to the Vata predominance, Pitta predominance, and Kapha predominance. This Sarpakara, Chhatrakara, and Muktakara, these appearances we can observe in daily practice. The direction of this mutra, that is in which if the spread is in a particular direction, then the prognosis is mentioned. If the spread is towards Uttara Disha, that is towards the north, then the individual is healthy. If it is towards the Purva Disha, then the Shigram Sukhi Bhavit, that is the prognosis is good, or the disease is with less complications or with no complications or less kind of vitiation of doshas. Then there is Ishanya. The intermediate directions are given for the poor prognosis, that is Ishanya, Vayavya, Nairuta and Agneya. In that also Nairuta and Agneya, that is the southwest and the southeast directions are said for the Nishchita Mrityu prognosis. These kind of directions will surely give the death in the patient. I have tried to let us see if this works. It's not. I have tried to show one small video of Taila Bindu Vikasana, but it is not playing here. Then Ayurveda Purisha Pariksha. There is no specific information about the collection of the sample in Ayurvedic Purisha Pariksha. As I said earlier, that these investigations were not meant to be done by any specialist or any specific person, but are meant to be done by every physician. So there is no information about the sample collection, container and time to be collected. But what we can see that the stool sample should be fresh. It should be collected in a sterile plastic screw cap container. It should be stay away from the direct sunlight, and it should be collected in the air and not from the toilet pot, regarding the sankraman in the sample, and there should not be any delay in performing any analysis of the collection. The different kind of divisions or the analysis we can divide according to the information what we get from the manuscript is the consistency and color. There are different kind of colors mentioned. The consistency also varies, that is the fenila, trutita, that is a spreading kind of consistency, then drudha, that is constipated or the hard stool, then shushka, that is the stool is dry, then dhumila, guti yukta, that is hard and spherical in nature. Different kind of colors are mentioned, that is pita, shukla, and there are mixing of colors, that is intermediate colors are also mentioned. The Purisha Pariksha was mentioned also according to the dosha predominance, because ultimately any kind of analysis would be, or any kind of treatment would be done according to the doshas. So predominantly all the analyses present in the Samhitas are based on the dosha predominance, or those are mentioned with the help of doshas, because identification of the dosha in the Usrushta Dravya is important to decide what should be the regime in the patient. So Vata predominance, Drudha and Shushka. Then Kapha, Tridosha. These are different kinds of dosha predominance is also mentioned in stool examination. There is a mentioning of different kind of colors in the stool, which defines there is a which states the prognosis in the patient, that is the Pakwa Jammu Sankasha. Then Mastulunga Vata, Maunsa Dhavana Jalavata, which indicate that the prognosis is really poor in the patient, which indicates that the stool sample is mixed with the different kind of dhatus in the particular system, which indicates that there is a dhatu kshaya, dhatu pak going on in the system, and the prognosis hence can be poor. There are different diseases where this Purisha Parisha is been mentioned like Jalodara, Kshaya, then Grahani, Atisara, where of course these are the Annavasrotasa Parikshas, Annavasrotasa diseases, but there are many other diseases where there is no relation or the Udbhavasthana is Annavasrotas, but the Vyaktisthana is different Srotasa, that is in Panduvyadhi where the Vyaktisthana is Rasava Srotas or Nakhanetram Purisha Mutra, and that in that diseases also to decide the stage of a disease, this Purisha Parisha can be of used. Then the Purisha Pariksha is mentioned according to the Pakwa and Apakwa Avastha of the Purisha. How this mala, if it is apakwa, then there is ajirnata in the system. If the purusha is swachha, that is there is no smell, the quantity is fine according to the koshta, and the varna is not abnormal, there is no abnormal smell, then the purusha is jirna, which indicates there is a normalcy in the annavasrotasa. Then there are also divisions or the analysis depending on the samata and niramata of the srotasa, which of the stool or the purisha, which can be correlated with the stage or normalcy of annavasrotas, where they say that if the stool sinks in water container, then and the smell is very foul, or the stool is slimy in nature, then it is sama. Then in Charak Samhita, the more detailed explanation is given that if the stool is drava in nature, if it is liquid in nature, then it is going to get sprayed on the surface of the container or on the water. Then what? Then he has explained that if the stool is too liquid, then it may float on the surface of the water, but if it smells bad or if it is slimy in nature, then we can say it as that it is a sama. Though if the stool gets sink into towards the bottom, but if it is poured in a bigger quantity or if it is solid in consistency, then it may get sink down to towards the bottom. So what we need to direct, or what we need to take care of, that how much quantity of stool we are going to pour in the container, and how much should be the quantity of the water in the container and stool to be poured in the container. So there are also stool examinations according to the Agni. If it is Pindita and Shushka Mala in physical examination or through Darshana Pariksha, then the Agni should be Tikshna. If there is a Drav Mala Pravrutti in the container, then the Agni should be Mandagni. So these are the analyzing and interpreting points which we can see that according to the consistency, we can say that what kind of Agni is present in the patient. Then the asadhyata. This is very important point which has mentioned, which says that if it is very bad in odor, if the stool has any shiny film like appearance on the surface of the stool, or it is of extreme yellow, black, white or red color, which is not a normal color, then it can be stated that the prognosis is bad in the patient. The sparsha, how we can relate the sparsha, that is according to the temperature of the sample container. So for this sparsha pariksha, we can say that this examination would be done at just after the collection of the sample. So this cannot be done with the when the patient collects the sample at home and brings to the laboratory, and after 2 to 3 hours we cannot do this sparsha pariksha. So there are limitations in conducting all types of examinations which are explained in this. In the current laboratorical situation, I think a few of the points are difficult to determine, difficult to interpret. Scope of this Purisha Pariksha according to Ayurveda: to screen abnormalities in Annavasrotas, to determine different stages of diseases in Annavasrotas, then to determine different states of diseases according to other srotasas. That is in Sannigata Vata, when we say there is a Nirupasambhita or Upasambhita. So Upasambhita is due to this Samata in Annamal Srotasa. So if there is the Samata in Annamal Srotas and the Lakshanas of Sannigata Vata are increasing, then we can say that Samata is due to the Annamal Srota. There is the abnormality in Annamal Srotasa. To determine underlying pathology in the disease, that is Raktasravajit, whether there is bleeding pathology, whether there is Sankramanajanya pathology, for that kind of context also we can use this Stula or Purisha Pariksha. To determine infestation of Purishaja Krumi. According to Ayurveda also these Purishaja Krumi are visible. They tend to move outside this anus, and through Purisha Pariksha also we can examine this Purishaja Krumi. Now Ayurvedic Rakta Parikshan. Also it is this kind of this Ayurvedic Rakta Parikshan is also done with the help of this Pancha Jnanendriya Pariksha. The normal Varna what is mentioned is Gunja Phala, Tapaniya, that is hot. When we heat the gold, then it becomes red, and that kind of red color is given to the normal Rakta. Then Padma and then Indragopa. The Sushruta and Charak Samhita has mentioned such kind of normal colors in Rakta, which in this picture you can see that this Padma, Gunja and Indragopa, these are shown here, and the comparative blood colors are shown here. The normal taste, that is Madhur and Lavana. Again, how they have tested it, it is not, we cannot say that. The normal touch is Kinchita Ushna. When we plunge it out from the syringe, then we can feel that the sparsha is little Ushna, little, that is a warmness in the temperature. Then there is different kind of analysis with the help of there is a change in color due to the Vata predominance, which we can see that Aruna and Shava due to Vata. Then Asita, Pita, that is which is not Shveta or which is Krishna in Varna. Then Pita Varni, Kashaya Varni. Then Gomutra Varni, these are related to the Pitta dosha. Then Ishata Pandu, Gairikodaka Prapti, Gairikodaka Prati. Then these are related to the Kapha dosha. And Kanji Kabha, the kind of alcohol or the kind of arishta where there is a little bit of alcohol content in any substance, then this kanji made from the substances that can be correlated with the three doshaja. So this appearance or this color can say that there is what kind of visheshan in the body. Then the abnormal characters related to the sparsha. That is, how is the sparsha, that is pichila, it is very slimy in touch, it is very snigdha, that is soft in touch, it is unctuous in touch, it is tanu, that is it is very thin in touch, it is very dry in touch, which indicates the related or the underlying dosha predominance. Then is the also one important aspect related to the rakta skandana, that is if the skandana is if the rakta after its plunging it is askandi, then it is a pitta predominance. If it is a chirasravi, means there is no skandana or there is skandana which is delayed kind of thing, then it is kapha dosha predominance. Three dosha skandana, if there is three dosha predominance, then skandana is not mentioned here. Then is the how is the flow of a normal rakta. Vagbhat says the normal rakta is asamhata. Asamhata is there is no specific thickness, means when we drop the blood on the surface it flows freely. So we can say that it is related to the viscosity of the blood sample. So then according to the Vata, Pitta and Kapha, this phenila, that is which is with the what you can say, phenila is bubbles. In Ayurveda, the forming of bubbles is due to Vata and Kapha. So phenila is mainly due to Vata because bubbles cannot form without the help of Vayu or Vata. But for the formation of the filming, Kapha dosha is also important. So phenila is prominently mentioned in Vata, but phenila can be correlated with Vata and Kapha also. So Vata, Pitta and Kapha, this Pichila, Tanu, Tantu Yukta, that is very important, that Tantu Yukta, that is the Styanata of Kapha, where this is predominance of Kapha with the help of associated with Vata dosha, then Styanata can be examined. Then sparsha, that is ushna and shita. Normal, the rakta is kinchita ushna, and the when there is a dosha predominance of pitta, then it is ushna in sparsha, and if there is kapha, that is shita in sparsha. So if we say that with the help of normal thermometer, what we use for to determine the body temperature, I may say that that kind of calibration of the thermometer may not check this kind of ushnata and shitata. A different kind of calibration or different kind of temperature measuring instrument may be needed to determine this such kind of ushnata and shitata, because I think that this kind of ushnata and shitata is it has a very minute change in temperature, which the temperature which the thermometers available for body measuring this body temperatures are not able to measure. Then gandha, it is, if it is pitta, then it is visra, it is foul or it is rotten kind of thing. And then if it is tri dosha, then there is a tri durgandhi, that is very foul smell. So it is, we can say that when there is a tri dosha, there is a dhatu paka, or there is a more kind of kleda and ama utpatti in body, which is giving foul smell to the rakta. Then then the Stivana Pariksha. This Stivana Pariksha, we can say that it is specifically mentioned, it is not mentioned in any kind of sthana or any chapter, but this Stivana Pariksha or examination of Stivana or the characteristic of a Stivana is mentioned in Kasa Vyadhi especially, and there are other Vyadhis also like Rajyashma and Shwasa, where there are in some of the kinds there is a mentioning of this the color or the character of the Stivana. So along with this Stivana, there are other examinations which can be related to say Retasa Parikshan, Stanya Parikshan and Chardi Drava Parikshan, or any other secretion in body which we can get collected into the container, and with the help of the Pancha Jnanendriya we can examine these secretions. What I want to tell in this presentation is that when I said that there are different kinds of rasa mentioned in mutra or in rakta, then how they have decided. So there is no explanation how they have decided that rakta is of lavana. Well, with the help of ashray bhava, we can say that rakta has a lavana rasa due to the presence of pitta in it. But if we want to give experience based research, or if you want to show in today's era that how it can be shown, then I think a retrospective kind of study can be done. While searching on the Google, I found out that how this kashaya rasa, how this saltiness, liminess, or this salinity of rakta or mutra can be examined. So there were not such kind of research is regarding this identification of the rakta or mutra, but I have found some of the interesting researches where they use in determining the astringency of these wines, where they decide the astringency at what is the percentage of astringency. And if we say that astringent is the kashaya rasa, then in these kind of researches the astringency is given to any substance with the presence of tannins or tannic acid and catamines. So the presence of tannic acid can be determined by various experiments, and that presence or that amount of tannic acid represents and can be interpreted in terms of the percentage of the astringency in the substance, especially in the wines and the other beverages. So I think why we cannot not apply this kind of experiments with rakta and mutra, which will help in exploring how they have decided this taste of this rakta and urine. So this is related to the kashaya rasa, where astringency can be determined. Then related to the salinity of urine, lavana rasa. in Mutra Pariksha or Lavana Rasa in Rakta Pariksha, then I found some of these pictures where it shows that the salinity of urine can be identified with the help of stick. And when I tried to study retrospectively that what this Lavana Rasa, if it is compared to the salinity, then what is that substance in the urine which gives salinity to urine? So aldosterone, the secretion by kidney, and it works as the steroid hormone accomplish this by the principal cells within the distal tubule collecting duct, where it acts the nucleus of the cell to increase messenger RNA synthesis, where it helps in absorption of sodium and potassium. So aldosterone helps in retention of sodium and potassium in urine. So if there is a deranged aldosterone or there is a diseases related to aldosterone, then it affects the salinity of the urine. So through this observation, I would like to say that by doing this such kind of retrospective study, by studying aldosterone, can we say that there is the urine or the rakta, the mutra are lavana in rasa, the rakta or mutra are kashaya in rasa. I think this might help in doing a kind of newer dimension to the Ayurvedic laboratory investigations. There are many other investigations like Retasa, Stanya and Chardi Parikshan, but due to the time constraint I have explained only Rakta Parikshan, Mutra Parikshan and Purisha Parikshan. So I would like to stop here by giving some kind of idea regarding exploring the rasas in all these Ushrushta Dravyas, which I want to present it because I am fascinated with these kind of researches in Ayurveda. So I would like to stop here, and I am thankful for all the organizers for giving me this opportunity to present here. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Aishwarya. The topic is very much useful in day-to-day practice as well as for our students, because topic is in our UG and PG syllabus both there. A really laboratory investigation pertaining to Ayurvedic परीक्षा को आपने आयुर्वेदीय प्रत्यक्ष परीक्षा को माइक्रोस्कोपिक एग्जामिनेशन के साथ जोड़ के सही में एक नया स्कोप जो है वो बच्चों के सामने प्रस्तुत किया है। और स्क्रीनिंग, डायग्नोस्टिक और प्रोग्नोस्टिक 3 वे में यदि हम परीक्षा करते हैं तो स्क्रीनिंग में जैसे हमारी बॉडी में एंटीबॉडी बनना, डायग्नोस्टिक में हमारा आरटी-पीसीआर टेस्ट करना और प्रोग्नोस्टिक में हमारी सीवियरिटी ऑफ डिजीज को तय करना निश्चित रूप से लाभदायक होगा। साथ ही साथ आपने योग रत्नाकर द्वारा बताई गई जो हमारी अस्थिर परीक्षा है, जिसको हमारी लेबोरेटरी इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण आधार बताया, उसके लिए आपको धन्यवाद। आपने जो एक एलैबोरेटिव वे में एक नॉलेजेबल टेस्ट जिनको हम आयुर्वेदीय परीक्षाओं के साथ कैसे जोड़ सकते हैं और उसमें एक नए स्कोप ऑफ एग्जामिनेशन को भी तय करने के लिए जो लेक्चर दिया है वो निश्चित ही हमारे टीचर्स एज वेल एज स्टूडेंट्स सभी के लिए लाभदायक होगा। धन्यवाद मैडम। चेयरपर्सन मैडम को मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ इनके ऊपर विशेष रूप से जो मैडम को इनके लेक्चर में मिला है वो प्रस्तुत करने के लिए, और साथ ही हमारे जो भी प्रबुद्ध जन इसमें उपस्थित हैं, हमारे रिस्पेक्टिव फैकल्टीज, साथ ही साथ स्टूडेंट्स जो एड ऑन करना चाहते हैं उनको मैं वेलकम करती हूँ। क्वेश्चन आंसर्स के लिए अभी हमारे पास समय नहीं है। क्वेश्चन आंसर जो है वो हमारे व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे आप कर सकते हैं। हमारी चेयरपर्सन मैडम पांडे। पंड्या मैडम को मैं आमंत्रित करती हूँ मैडम unmute कीजिए।
हाँ बस आ रहा
This internet connection isn't strong enough at the moment.
हेलो
Yes, it's clear now,
Yes.
madam.
ओके आवाज है फाइन
Ma'am, there is some kind of disturbance in your voice. I think you can remove your cord.
नाउ इट इज ओके
Yes, yes, it's fine now. Yes,
हेलो
yes, ma'am.
ओके फाइन मैं दो तीन विषय यहाँ पे ऐड करना चाहूंगी सिर्फ जो कुछ एक कंफर्मेटरी विषय बताए हैं क्लिनिकल एस्पेक्ट से जैसे एक पुरुष के अंदर है शाखाश्रित कामला वहाँ बहुत अच्छी क्योंकि हमारी जो लेबोरेटरी है ना बहुत सारे विषय उन्होंने ऐसे नहीं बताया कि नॉर्मल वैल्यूज ये है उसको ऐसे इससे बढ़ता है तो इससे कम होता है बट उन्होंने एकदम क्लिनिकल कि आप जैसे पेशेंट की एग्जाम करते हैं वो उस एग्जाम में आपको सीधा सीधा पेशेंट से आप रस एक जो आपने बताया रस एक थोड़ा स्ट्रेंज है हमारे लिए क्योंकि जीवा परीक्षा का रस परीक्षा का चरक ने खुद में ही मना किया है वो अनुमान से करनी
जी,
है
जी, जी,
बाकी की चीजें जैसे अभी शाखाश्रित कामला की बात कही तो वहां उन्होंने बताया कि तिल पिष्ट निभन वस्तु वर्चः
जी, जी,
वो श्वेत तिल के जैसा कलर है और उसको हमें तब तक ट्रीट करना है जब तक आप पित्त रागात शकृत
जी,
वो
जी,
पीड़ित जो है वो पित्त वर्ण से रंजित हो जाता है तो सो दिस विल बी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर कि उसको हमें कहाँ तक ट्रीट करना है
जी,
इसी प्रकार से रक्त में आपने दो तीन बातें बड़ी अच्छी बताई कि जो हम आज की लेबोरेटरीज हमारे पास है जो उपयोग करते हैं उसका आयुर्वेद में इंटरप्रिटेशन जैसे पित्त से दूषित रक्त है तो जो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक बताई कि वो अस्कंदित होता है या तो चीर स्कंदी होता है तो उस
जी,
कंडीशन में हमें उसको वाइस वर्सा अगर देखते हैं तो उस कंडीशन में हमें पित्त की दृष्टि समझकर उसको रक्त पित्त की लाइन के ऊपर
जी, जी,
वैसे ही अगर मान लीजिए कि लिपिड बढ़ा हुआ है या तो जो भी कफ संबंधित बहुत सारी व्याधियां हैं तो उसके संदर्भ में ये ब्लड में इस प्रकार की दो तीन शब्द बताए कि स्रावी है जब ब्लड लेट करते हैं ना पेशेंट से उसी वक्त ये अंदाज आ जाता है कि ये तो
जी,
बहुत
जी,
और उसी कंडीशन में आपको बाकी जो भी हो बट कफ की विशेषण तो प्राइमरी समझकर उसको तो हमें चिकित्सा के रूप में कंसिडर करना और एक चीज जो है वो मुझे इसी प्रकार से जैसे आपने बताया मुझे थोड़ी परेशान भी कर रही है एक जगह पर उन्होंने ऐसा बताया है सुश्रुत ने कि भाई विगत प्रमेह लक्षण जो प्रमेह जो है वो चला गया है उसको अपन कैसे समझे तो उसके लिए उन्होंने बताया कि प्रमेह का रोगी जो है वो जब अपिच्छिला और अनाविला साथ साथ में विशद इस प्रकार का मूत्र त्याग करता है कटुतिक्त रस भी बताया है और साथ में ये गुण भी बताया सो हाउ टू एनालाइज अपिच्छिला हाउ टू एनालाइज विशद ये मेरे लिए प्रश्न ही है कहीं तो अगर बाद में कोई बता सकता है तो भी वो अच्छा रहेगा you presented really very well. Thank you.
thank you so
I
much.
take this opportunity, Aradhana Madam, to thankful very much to you as well as our organizers of Rogindana Academy, Dr. Pawan sir and Dr. Atul sir also. Thank you very much.
नमस्कार मैडम,
Thank you so
धन्यवाद।
much, madam.
आपके द्वारा जो विवेचन किया गया वो निश्चित ही हमारे शिक्षकों साथी हमारे छात्रों छात्र छात्राओं के लिए बहुत लाभदायक सिद्ध होगा और ऐश्वर्या मैडम उसको और ऐड ऑन करेंगी और वो तिनका तिनका बटोर के आगे बढ़ ही रही हैं धीरे धीरे और हमारी आशा ही नहीं विश्वास है कि वो आगे बढ़ेंगी। मैं डॉक्टर भारती ददलानी मैडम को आमंत्रित करती हूँ आप सभी उपस्थित जनों का आभार प्रकट करने के लिए। तो कृपया भारती ददलानी मैडम।
Thank you, Aradhana मैडम, थैंक यू वेरी मच। निदान के बिना चिकित्सा जो है वो संभव नहीं। इस रोग निदान की एकेडमी ऑफ रोग निदान की 34th लेक्चर सीरीज में डॉक्टर भारती दादलानी आप सभी सम्मानीय निदानियों का आभार अभिव्यक्त करती हूँ। सर्वप्रथम मैं अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर पवन कुमार गोदतवार जी का धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करना चाहती हूँ। सर शायद यहाँ प्रेजेंट नहीं है अभी, लेकिन चूंकि हमारी एकेडमी के वो अध्यक्ष हैं, इसलिए सर्वप्रथम मैं उन्हीं का धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करना चाहती हूँ। अब मैं सचिव डॉक्टर अतुल वार्ष्णेय जी का धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करती हूँ, जिन्होंने निदान की श्रृंखला को आगे तेज बढ़ाने का कार्य किया है। डॉक्टर दर्शना पंड्या जी, आज की चेयरपर्सन का मैं आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, और मैडम का सरल स्वभाव ही अपने आप में प्रशंसनीय है। हम बहुत बार मैडम से मिलते रहते हैं, कई बार हम मुलाकात होती रहती है मैडम से। अब किसी भी कार्यक्रम को जब तक बांधा ना जाए तब तक वो पूर्ण नहीं हो सकता, और यही कार्य आज किया है हमारी डॉक्टर आराधना कांडे मैडम जी, जो इस कार्यक्रम की कोऑर्डिनेटर भी हैं, और उनका मैं धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करना चाहती हूँ। टेक्निकल सपोर्ट के लिए डॉक्टर गणेश कोहले जी, कोई भी सीरीज, कोई भी वेब सीरीज, जो भी हमारी सीरीज बन रही है सारी उसके अंदर जो है कोई भी टेक्निकल सपोर्ट के बिना ये संभव नहीं कि वो सीरीज संभव हो सके, और टेक्निकल कार्य जो है पूर्णतः डॉक्टर गणेश कोहले जी ने पूर्ण किया है, और बहुत ही अच्छे से उन्होंने उसको किया है। अब मैं अंत में हमारी आज की स्पीकर वैद्य ऐश्वर्या रानड़े जी का धन्यवाद ज्ञापन करती हूँ, जिन्होंने लेबोरेटरी इन्वेस्टिगेशंस पर्टेनिंग टू आयुर्वेदा बहुत ही अच्छे से, मैडम ने रक्त मूत्र परीक्षा को बहुत ही विस्तृत विवेचन करते हुए और आयुर्वेदीय दृष्टिकोण से बहुत ही अच्छे से उन्होंने विवेचन किया, और सभी आज निश्चित ही हम सभी का उससे बहुत अधिक ज्ञानवर्धन हुआ है कि किस प्रकार जो है परीक्षाएं जो है तैल बिंदु परीक्षा भी हमें करनी चाहिए। और अंत में मैं सभी छात्र छात्राओं और उपस्थित सभी प्रतिभागियों का आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ, जिन्होंने लेक्चर सुनकर इस कार्यक्रम को संपूर्ण किया। और अब मैं आप सभी का अंत में आभार व्यक्त करना चाहूंगी, ये 2 लाइनें कह करके। आप सभी आयुर्वेद जनों का बहुत बहुत आभार। कीमती समय निकालकर एकेडमी ऑफ रोग निदान को देते हैं इतना प्यार। एकेडमी ऑफ रोग निदान को देते हैं इतना प्यार। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
धन्यवाद मैडम, धन्यवाद। आपके आभार से अभिभूत हुए, मैं ताली बजा रही हूँ। बहुत ही अच्छा, धन्यवाद। आज के रोग निदान की एकेडमी में समय हो चला है, समय की सीमितता है, और सभी प्रबुद्ध जनों को पुनः धन्यवाद और नमस्कार। विशेष रूप से यदि अतुल वार्ष्णेय सर उपस्थित हैं, अनुराग जी, मैं आज शायद हमारे एकेडमी के अध्यक्ष और सचिव उपस्थित नहीं, तो धन्यवाद देती हूँ मैं जो उपस्थित हमारे आदरणीय ब्याडगी सर, अनुराग जी, इंडिया मैडम, ऐश्वर्या मैडम, ददलानी मैडम, और अन्य विवेक दुबे जी, हमारे अजय कीर्ति जैन सर। और मैं आपको बताना चाहूँगी कि हम देश के भिन्न भिन्न भागों से जुड़ने वाली महिलाएं आज यहाँ उपस्थित हैं। दर्शना मैडम जो है वो गुजरात से जुड़ी है हमारे साथ, मैडम ऐश्वर्या महाराष्ट्र से, मैडम भारती मध्य प्रदेश से, और मैं स्वयं छत्तीसगढ़ से। और इस प्रकार 4 कोनों से 4 महिलाएं यहाँ उपस्थित हैं। तो महिलाओं के कद में शीशा रखते हुए मैं कहती हूँ, जीवन की कला को आपने अपने हाथों से साकार कर नारी ने सभ्यता और संस्कृति का रूप निखारा है। नारी का अस्तित्व ही सुंदर और दीर्घ जीवन का आधार है। धन्यवाद सभी को। ब्यागी सर।
धन्यवाद मैडम, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और सब आज महिला शक्ति ने पूरा मोर्चा संभाला और सभी लोगों ने, चाहे आपका दायित्व हो, चाहे ऐश्वर्या मैडम का अपना दायित्व हो और दर्शन मैडम का अपना दायित्व है, और जो सभी लोगों ने इतना जितना आज की डेट में सभी लोगों ने अपनी 100% से ज्यादा आप लोगों ने एफर्ट डाल के आज के कार्यक्रम को बहुत सक्सेसफुल किया। उसके लिए मैं मैडम का नाम भूल गया, मैं धन्यवाद जो दिए थे। भारती मैडम को भी धन्यवाद। और मैं सभी को हृदय से धन्यवाद दे दूंगा। सभी लोगों ने, स्पेशली आज की महिला शक्ति ने खूब जागरूक हुआ। इसी तरह के महिला शक्ति जागरूक हो जाएंगे तो हम लोग का रोग निदान परिषद की और भी एक्टिविटीज है सुचारू रूप से चलेगा। इस शुभकामनाओं के साथ once again very hearty congratulations to Aradhana madam, Aishwarya madam, and Darshana madam and Bharati madam for conducting a very nice today's event. And as usual, Ganesh ji deserves an appreciation because he is the person behind conducting all these technical these things. So kudos to whole team for conducting a very nice today's event. Thank you Ananda
जी। थैंक यू गणेश जी, प्रशांत जी, आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आपके सहयोग के बिना ये कार्य कर पाना संभव ही नहीं था, क्योंकि टेक्निकली मैं इतनी साउंड नहीं हूँ। गणेश जी ने ही सारा कुछ संभाला हुआ है और गणेश जी के बिना जो है ये एकेडमी की वेब सीरीज के लेक्चर जो है ना असंभव। इसलिए सबसे ज्यादा आपको धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू मैडम।
थैंक यू गणेश सर। थैंक यू
सभी को धन्यवाद। समय की सीमितता को देखते हुए कार्यक्रम के समापन की घोषणा करते, मैडम से घोषणा करने के लिए अनुमति चाहते हैं। दर्शना मैडम
कंक्लूड करें मैम अभी? ओके,
कंक्लूड कर दीजिए मैडम।
दर्शना मैडम कार्यक्रम समाप्ति की घोषणा कर दीजिए।
मैडम अनम्यूट कीजिए दर्शना मैम।
अनम्यूट कीजिए मैडम। चलिए
ओके
मैडम का
यस नहीं
जी।
अब मेरा अनम्यूट हुआ है। ऑफिशियली ये कार्यक्रम यहाँ पर संपन्न करते हैं।
थैंक यू
मैडम।
थैंक यू once
थैंक यू
again
एवरीबॉडी। थैंक यू
all of
थैंक यू
you.
आराधना जी।
Thank you all Rogue Nidanians, all loving students who are presenting here, who are joining this meeting. Thanks a lot.
ओके मैम। यस